What's up, everybody? I'm going to jump right into this because I'm kind of tired of making videos talking about these things, but I have to because it affects my students. So I got to get in front of it, make sure that they're not misguided, misled by these type of rumors. We just dealt with this 2 weeks ago, and then right away we got something else going on. Now, I haven't really watched the YouTube video talking about this stuff, but yesterday in the middle of the night, I get messages asking me, have you seen any type of letters like these before? And I saw like a photo of letter, and they said that they saw it on some YouTube video. And I myself have never watched that. I don't usually watch YouTube for anything PTE related, so I'm not up on game with anybody making YouTube videos because I'm just not interested in watching it. But of course, students are. And when they see something they're not sure about, they're going to ask me. And I can't tell them my opinion without looking more into it. So last night I get a message. It's a picture of a letter, and I'm not even going to show it to you because I feel like it's not even credible to even to repeat this shit. But basically, it was a letter, not an email, not an email. Let me repeat that. It was a letter from the UK sent to Australia. It was a letter from the UK sent to an address in Melbourne, I think. And yeah, it was Melbourne. And it said that the person's score had been canceled, the PTE score had been canceled, and that they are no longer able to take the PTE again. Something about how they broke the rules, and now they are banned forever from taking the PTE. It seems like they're referring to sneaky techniques. You're doing the test by not following the instructions, and you did some sneaky techniques to get the score that you required, whatnot. And this person apparently said that this letter is spreading around social media and because of that YouTube video. And so now they want to know, have I seen any letters like these before? And I have not. But by looking at that photograph, it felt kind of strange. And the reason why I felt kind of strange is because it was a letter from PTE. First of all, for any one of you that's dealt with PTE, man, they don't even answer the phone. Why are they going to send you a letter? That was my first impression. I can't even get them on the phone, and they're going to send you a letter? They don't even reply to your emails till like 3 weeks later, and they're going to send you a letter? And this letter didn't even have a letterhead. It was just a white piece of paper, and it just said like the information that was stated, like you basically cheated and you're banned, right? It did have the address on there though, but it was a plain letter with just the address with no letterhead. You could have typed this shit up on Microsoft Word yourself. I'm not saying that the person did. Maybe the person that made the video got a letter from somebody else that made that shit up. I don't know. I don't want to say 100% that they made it up, but it seemed kind of weird. So in the middle of the night, the first thing I can think of was look up at that address. I looked up the address. All right, it was a UK address. I looked it up. It was Pearson. It is one of Pearson's offices in Manchester, okay, or a city that I don't know a lot of things about UK. I know Manchester, but it was actually a city next to Manchester, and I forgot the name of it. So when I looked it up, I confirmed it because I typed in PTE Manchester, and that was the same address that came up. And they had a phone number on there. So in the middle of the night, this was around midnight, I called them. I called that number, and it was PTE. I'm sorry, it was Pearson. It wasn't PTE, it was Pearson. And, somebody answered the phone. So from now on, if you want to contact PTE, look up the Manchester office and call that number because 20 minutes. I waited about 20 minutes. Somebody did pick up, although they did transfer me overseas. It wasn't, you can tell that it was not somebody working in Manchester. It was somebody got transferred overseas, and his name was Brian. Come on now. You know that's a call that's transferred overseas. It's a call center. All right, so I didn't have a real letter to complain about or to ask him any questions about, so I just told him that I got one of these letters. My relatives got it. They can't speak English, so I'm calling on their behalf. And then they said that they can't really give me a lot of information. So my relatives had to call, but I just basically asked them, I said, look, does this seem normal to you based on your experience? Do you guys usually correspond through emails or through letter? Okay, do you mail a letter in the mail to someone if you have one of these type of discrepancies or warnings, any type of correspondence? Do you send a letter or do you send an email? And the person on the phone says, I have never heard of anyone sending a letter. We always communicate or correspond through email. So that was a sign that showed me, okay, we got a little problem here, because this letter might not be real then, because even the people that work at PTE notice that they don't actually send letters, they send emails. But this was an actual letter. If you guys see that video or see that image, I think it was posted through a lot of social media channels. If you see that image of the letter, you'll see that is a Manchester address, and then it is the address sent to Australia, Melbourne. That's already kind of weird. That's the first thing. So to me, I feel like if you see that letter, come on, it's not really something you need to be worried about. That's not all. So I'm gonna look into more information, right? Because I'm never the one to be on here bullshitting you. I will look for facts. I'll look for as much information as I can, and then I'll share it with you. So the second thing I looked for was, I've never written a letter to the UK before. Who writes letters these days, right? So I don't even know if the way that they wrote out their address is correct, because if somebody that's not from the UK or has never sent a letter to the UK before, they might actually be writing the address incorrectly. So I looked it up. I looked up how to write or how to address a letter properly to send to the UK. And the way that it was structured did not match that letter or that return address. On the letter, they have the return address, and they stated the city twice, and then they put the postcode in the wrong position. This PTE office supposedly that sent the letter is based in the UK. I would assume that on their own letter, without a letterhead, but on their own letter with a return address, they would know how to write their own address properly. Okay, because they stated both cities. Like I said, this was a city next to Manchester, but they stated both cities, and then they put the zip code. I don't know what it's called, but in the States it's called a zip code. I think Australia is called the zip code as well. They put the zip code next to the city. If you're from the UK, you're probably familiar with this. Apparently, you don't put the zip code and the city next to each other. You put it below it. All right, but on that letter, it was next to each other. Another sign for me that it might not be a real letter, okay? And if you go and look up that address, if you see that address, or just type in Pearson, Manchester, and you'll find that office on Google Maps, and you'll see that the address and their phone number, they don't actually mention Manchester, but on the letterhead or on that letter, the return address says Manchester. So it's kind of weird that they don't know their own address, because they use the other city's name. It starts with the S. I already forgot what it was. I'm not trying to spend too much time editing this video or do any type of editing, because I don't want to feed into this negativity, okay? The only reason why I gotta address this is because it's putting fear into my students. If you want to watch YouTube, if you want to watch all of those people teaching YouTube, more power to you. But when you see rumors and things like that, spreading fear, spreading these rumors, come on, it's up to you if you want to believe it. But because it's affecting my students, I gotta address this. All right. And then lastly, the other thing that I did was I typed the sentences from that letter, okay, into Google. All right, if you see the letter, if you come across that, just type those sentences, or at least one sentence, into Google, and you can see if that pops up, if anybody has ever talked about this information before. So as you can see, I did 3 things to check the authenticity of this letter, right? Because I'm not gonna just like, oh shit, I'm gonna start spreading this rumor as well. So I checked those 3 things. The third thing was I typed it into Google to see if anyone's ever brought this up, if anyone's ever talked about this before in forums and stuff like that. And I did see some people talk about it, maybe 2. All right. And I looked into that forum and I see the discussion that they had. And this was from years ago. The most recent one was from maybe 3 years ago. And the discussion people were talking about was this person had taken an exam. I think it was in India. And that test center had been flagged to be doing fraudulent things. Okay. Apparently that test center had been shut down. And that's the information that I found related to the person that got the letter. So they took it at that test center, and the people that would replying back to him said, hey, that test center had issues. They were doing probably fraudulent things. Your test got flagged with it. Now you're banned. But it's related to that test center. It had nothing to do with like you cheating on the test and stuff like that. They didn't say that he was actually cheating on the exam. I don't know if it's a he or a she, but overall, that was it right there. Okay, I checked for 3 things, and all 3 showed that it probably was not a real letter. Because if they had shown an email, if they showed an email, the email would have to have the return address, right? The return email address. It would show the actual date of that email. So that's my opinion. So if my students are seeing this, that's what I found out for you. Okay, I don't believe that's a real letter. I do believe it was a real email sent out from PTE, but I don't think it was recent. All right. The address was kind of weird the way that was written. It was not a real cover letter. It was not a real letterhead. Okay, and also the information I found based on that the letter content was people talked about it a few years ago related to how a test center in India got shut down because they were doing like fraudulent things. All right, I really hate making tutorials, or that's not even a tutorial. Come on now, I really hate making videos talking about this stuff because it's 1 week after another, right? 2 weeks ago, we just talked about some changes that people getting scared about, and it turned out to be nothing. And then now we have another rumor spreading around about how, oh, you're going to get flagged, you're going to get banned. All right, that's it. I don't want to keep blabbing on. No intro, no outros. It is what it is. I'm out.